Hello student. In last few lectures we have started with the Rhynia, that is the Rhynia, uh, which we called as a pteridophytic uh, plant, which is most importantly found as a symbiotic, or we can say it is a linking between the true vascular plants and algae. Today we are going to talk about the further part of this Rhynia. We almost gone through the systematic position of the Rhynia. Then we have also discussed about the structure of Rhynia. In structure of Rhynia we have gone through the stem, rhizome and internal structure also discussed in last lecture. Now as we know that it is the pteridophytic plant, and it is having some characters which resemblance to that of algae and that to the pteridophytes. We have gone through the internal structure of this Rhynia, and today we are going to talk about the reproduction in Rhynia. Now as Rhynia reproduce primarily via sexual reproduction through terminal homospores, sporangia, and vegetatively via adventitious branches. Now, as we know that the sporophyte produced tetrahedral spores or tetrad in 12 long terminal sporangia, that is vegetative propagation occurred through detachment of adventitious branches of the rhizome. Now from this it is very clear that there will be two types of reproduction which is observed in Rhynia. The first one is the sexual reproduction, and along with this the asexual reproduction, that is vegetative type of reproduction, is also observed in Rhynia. Now in a sexual type of reproduction, sporangia is the most important parameter which is produced, or it is most important organ which is produced. So sporangia born singly at the apices of dichotomously branched aerial stem. These cylindrical or oval structure were thicker than the branches themselves. Now when we talk about the sporangia, we have gone through the practical that this sporangia occurred on the branches which we call a dichotomously branched structure. Now when we look at the structure of the sporangia, the sporangial wall was 5 to 6 cell thick, consisting of outer cutinized epidermis and middle thin wall layer, and a tapetum is also present. Now as we know that this sporangia bears or it produces the spores. The cavity contained numerous homospores, cutinized spores, indicating they were formed via meiosis, meaning the Rhynial plant was sporophytic, having the generation and dehiscence of these spores. There is no specialized mechanism existed for the liberation, likely occurred through disintegration of the sporangial wall. So this is very commonly found in pteridophytes. So there is no specific parameter is present that will help in a dehiscence. So the spores are produced on the sporangia, inside the sporangia, which is having the numerous homospores structures, and it is cutinized spores. Now here you can see the structure is shown over here. So these are nothing but the branches belonging to the rhizoids. So rhizoids at the base you can see, and these rhizoids further gives rise to a shoot part, and which is dichotomously branched on the top, and at the maturity this dichotomously branched structure produces sporangia, and this sporangia is having a particular structure. When you look at this structure, you can see the sporangia is a oval shaped structure, and which is produced at the top of the branches. Now here you can see the detailed structure of sporangia. In this you can see this image shows this fossilized structure of the rhineal spore or sporangia, and here you can see the detailed structure is shown. So on the outer side you can see the sporangial wall is there. The sporangial wall is a thick structure. Inside to this you can see the spore tetrads are shown in the black structures or as a black structure, and here you can see the detailed spore structure is given. So these spores are looks like this particular tetrad, and later on the spore tetrad will develop into spores like this. So this is nothing but a total sporangial structure as shown in the figure. This C is the spore tetrad and D is the spores. Now moving to the next part, that is vegetative reproduction. In a Rhynia, vegetative reproduction is very common, and the mechanism of this vegetative reproduction is producing small adventitious hemispherical or outgrowth developed on the rhizome or lower aerial stem, and later on they will developed into branches. When separated, these detached branches formed new independent plant. So this fragmentation, or we can say vegetative reproduction, is very simple. It will seen after the full growth of the Rhynial plant. Now here you can see the detailed reproduction is shown in this particular image or diagram. The fully matured plants at the top of bifurcated branches produces the sporangia. This sporangia will mature and produces the spores by the meiosis or by the process of meiosis. These spores will later on produced as a male and female gamete, and the gametophytic development will take place. Archegonium and antheridium is developed on the matured plant, and the further development will gives rise to a mature plant again. So this is very simple life cycle you can see here, shown here in a sexual reproduction. So here we stop with this today's discussion. In today's lecture we have gone through the two main topic. The first one is the sexual reproduction and the second one is the vegetative reproduction. In a sexual reproduction, the sporangia are produced, in which spores are produced, and the spores look like a tetrad initially, and later on it will develop into the single spore. These spores will liberated by a simple mechanism. By breaking the sporangium, they will liberated and will produce the new plant body. Whereas in a vegetative reproduction, small adventitious hemispherical or oval outgrowth develop on the rhizome or on the lower stem, and these branches developed and then it is separated from the mother plant, and it will produce a independent plant. So this is very simple type of reproduction, that is vegetative reproduction, which is observed in a Rhynia.